Whoa, my hair, my hair. What's going on, peoples? So today, how good this looks. That might be a little too bright. Whoa, that's a lot of light, peoples. So what's going on, peoples? It's that time. I'm a little late. Sorry about being late. Man, late is bad. Bad news. Bad, bad news for everybody. Bad news, man. So, um, if you are just watching this, remember to like and subscribe. And if you have not done so already, and so go ahead and put that like button and hit that subscribe button right now. Yeah, right now. Anyways, so it's a beautiful day here. It's let's see the weather report on the cell phone. Let's see here. It is I'm waiting. It was like 50 degrees or something today. It is 55 degrees. It was 57 earlier. Um Tomorrow on Sunday is supposed to be rainy and Monday is raining. So Easter is rainy and 60 degrees Fahrenheit. It's not too shabby. I did see on my my cherry blossom tree my cherry blossom tree that it's really getting ready to bloom. I mean, those buds are like going, yeah, that's just go. So we got our green peach tree, our green peach tree, our green peach tea, not tree, but tea. Very, very good stuff. Yummy, yummalicious. So, yeah, got my headphones on so I can hear what the heck I sound like. Um, but we're not gonna use them right now. Um, yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, today's topic of today, and I got my fancy schmancy ball cap here. Uh, Go Tigers! I think I got this on like Memorial Day one weekend. I don't remember specifically which year it was that they had this camouflage pattern going on, but yeah, every year this is going to be the first year that that baseball's not going on. And also well, I don't want to say it's the first year the baseball's not going on because that's absolutely false. Men's well, let's just say no sport is going on, but baseball, Major League Baseball, the league itself, um, did not go on during World War II, but the women did take over, and there's a Tom Hanks movie about that. Um, I wish I remember the name of it, but Tom Hanks was the guy who was in the movie about the ladies. I think Madonna was in it, and Rosie Mi- what's her name? Rosie was in it also, and the two of them together. I think who else was? I thought it was um Madonna, and maybe there was a couple other actors. I don't remember this point in time who all was in there, but yeah. Anyways, there was a lot of people that were in there in that movie. And now let me go look. Let me go look it up. Tom Hanks baseball movie. I don't think that he was Hanks baseball. Tom Hanks baseball movie. I'm gonna make it was a League of Their Own, and the cast was Madonna, Laura Petty, Rosie O'Donnell, Megan Kavanaugh, Tracy Reiner, and it had Ann Cusack, which is I think she's probably John Cusack's sister or something maybe, and Gina Davis, and yeah, so there was a lot of ladies. Oh, John Lovitz was in the movie also, A League of Your Own, and it was a movie. Basically, it was a league that was being played. The America's it was as America's stock and athletic young men is depleted during World War II, a professional all-female baseball league springs up in the Midwest, funded by publicly hungry candy maker Walter Harvey and competitive sister Dottie Hinson and Kit Keller spar with, and anyways, they play baseball. So there was actually a league that was actually playing baseball during World War II, but it wasn't the Major League Baseball league. So there you have it. So yeah, so anyways, back to this hat. So my hat, I have lots of tiger hats, and I get these specific camouflage hats I get normally through during Memorial Day, because they don't, I don't think they have Veterans Day hats. I think the season is over by October. But yeah, so usually get the Memorial Day hat, and I love them, and I love wearing them, and because I like showing that I'm a veteran. So today's big scoop is that I'm going to be talking about my story in basic training. So let me get a sip of this tea. It's not this is a Starbucks cup, but this is not Starbucks tea. Remember, Starbucks bought out Teavana. It was very sad. It was a very sad day in history when Teavana was bought out by Starbucks, and then Starbucks basically took them down. Because I was a tea connoisseur. That was my thing. It was very expensive tea, and basically, thanks Starbucks for buying them out, and then basically taking the place under, which was not very nice at all. I have to say that it was not very nice what Starbucks did to Teavana. Now, it was kind of the good while it lasted, because I racked up on a lot of the Starbucks points, and I was a gold card member. I still am a gold card member, but I mean, now you got to wait for a long. Anyways, that's a whole nother discussion about Starbucks and their gold their points for racking up points to get free drinks. They really changed it so that you have to drink a lot of drinks to get those points, or you have to follow to get points. You have to do the things that they want you to do to get the points. Okay, so let's see here. When I was a little kid, when I was young kid, I was let's see here. I was about maybe in my early teens, and I decided we used to me and another friend of mine, won't see his name, to protect the innocent, or protect the kids. Anyways, we used to have this thing where we would get together inside my friend's basement, and we would draw up plans. And the plans would be like, we would pretend we were officers in the military. So my goal at one point in time was to be a military officer. Hey, officer, what are you doing? Yeah, move on out. So basically, I was going to be this. My goal in life before high school, when I was in high school, was I was going to be a military officer, because I used to pretend that I was an officer, and we would draw up these World War II plans with my friend, and we would enact them out. We had play guns and stuff like that, and everything was fake and whatnot. So I said to my parents, I want to join the army. All right. I had already knew that the recruiter did not have to come find me to join the army. I basically signed early. My parents signed for me. I went into this plan called the delayed entry plan. And how it worked is this, right? At 17, I was 17 when I graduated high school, because I was a young guy who got into school early, because my birthday is in October, right? So what happened is that I went into this program called the delayed entry program, where you would go and you would enlist, and you would start going to drills. I went to drills on the local army base, the Air National Guard base here, and I would go to drills when I was in high school, and I would go, and then by the time I got the basic training, I would know everything that I needed to know. So I did the delayed entry program, and when I went in, I was I think I was like private first class or private or whatever it was. I was not like regular private Fleming or no name. I think there was like a rank below your regular private. There was like recruit or something like that. I went in with something. Anyways, it was pretty good. So I went in, and I went into I went into the late entry program. So when I was 17, already was signed up, and when my 18th birthday came around, which I was already in base when I was 17, I graduated high school, and before I turned 18, I joined the military, active duty, and was sent off into the world of the army. So I so I went down, and I had to go to like the MEP station. That's where you go there and they do your physical, and that was downtown Detroit. Actually, it's we're no longer there. The building that it was in has been taken over by something else, and across the street was the old Detroit Police Department, the headquarters building, the same building that Axel Foley was there when Beverly Hills Cop was taking place. So, and Inspector Todd was his real name, and he was working there. So, anyways, um, so I went downtown, and I went to MEPS, and I got my physical, and I got all that. I cleared all that, and then there was a wait. I had a wait to go to basic training. So as I was going to be deploying off, I got my airline ticket. I got ready to go. Got everything, I got all my bags packed. I'm ready to roll. And all of a sudden, here comes Hurricane Hugo, because I was going to South Carolina to Fort Jackson, and all of a sudden, Hurricane Hugo hits Florida and the East Coast and the Carolinas. Maybe it didn't hit Florida. I think it was like around. I think it was in the Carolinas. Here, Hurricane Hugo, and they said, "Halt! You cannot go down there at all. There's a hurricane. It's not good for you to go right now. You're going to have to wait a few weeks." So the military started to pay me, even though I was not deploying anywhere, and I sat at home and waited, and they gave me another date to go. So my original enlisted date was like September in 1989, right? So I finally they gave me a new set of orders, and I went on the airplane, and this is the first time I went on the airplane ever in my entire life. So I got on the airplane, and it was stormy. It was my first time flying ever anywhere as in my entire life. So I remember as a kid I lived in the don't laugh. I lived in the basement. I lived in my upstairs with my parents on the main floor, and then I decided to move. Hey, mom, can I move down to the basement so I can have my own place? So I used to watch a lot of scary movies, and one of them was Twilight Zone. One of the Twilight Zone movies was the one with the airplane. Remember, the guy he was in the seat in the airplane, and there was a storm going on. That was that lightning sound. No blowing up, but you know what I'm saying. And it hit the wing of the airplane, and the guy looks out on the window, and he raises the window on the airplane window, the little screen that goes up, and he pushes it up, and all of a sudden there is the airplane monster from the Twilight Zone. So I had a seat that was also, I'm scared of heights. So I went there, and was sitting there next to the excuse me, the window. And what happened is that the window, I thought that the monster from the movie that was the Twilight Zone was going to be on the wing. So I shut all the windows nearby. The row in front of me, there was really not a lot of people in the airplane. So it was it was nighttime. It was the last flight on out of Detroit to South Carolina, and I closed them all. So I get off the airplane, and I made it there. So I get off the airplane, and we get to South Carolina, right? I get picked up in a bus at the airport and it's the recruiting people. So they get everybody off the air. I meet my contact, and I go to the air. We get transported to Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Now, I don't know if you've Googled online one of these basic training videos where the troops show up on the bus, the yellow bus, the green bus, right? And they show up, and then the drill sergeant is there to meet them, and he's like, "You guys got 20 seconds to get on off this bus. 19 of them are gone." I'm like, "Whoa, dude, wait a minute. You just told me I got 20 seconds to get off the bus. You just took away 19 of them. You mean I got 1 second to get off the bus? What the heck?" So what happened is that then they said, "Well, I got 19 seconds." And then they're yelling at you if you don't get all your stuff off the bus in some type of like unfathomable time limit, like there's a fire on the bus, right? Then the next thing they're doing is they want you to beat your face. Now, nobody knew what beating your face was. Beat your face. That means not beating your face like I'm going to hit my face with my hands or my fists or something like that. That means your face is going to be in the push-up position facing the ground, and you're going to do up, down, up, down, up, down. Your face is beating the ground. You know what I'm saying? So you're beating your face to the ground, doing the push-ups, and they're like, "Beat your face now, privates." And everybody is beating their faces, right? Or doing the push-ups, as I want to say it. So that is yeah. So once you get on that, then they want to look through and make sure that you get in there, and then you start processing your paperwork. It's the only paperwork you have. It's your paperwork, your I think it's your contract and some other stuff, right? Just so you have your orders to go to basic training. That's the first thing to get out of the way is all of the paperwork, and they're yelling at you, and they get in this line and get in that line, and remember, and the first thing you have to do is you have to have we used our social security numbers as like our identification numbers, and everybody had to know they had to basically memorize their social security number and all of that information, because that was like what they called you, like other than your name. You would have to give it to them all the time. So they yell at you, and then they get you there. They get you your BD. Then they take you. This is in the middle of the night, right at the basic training. You just arrived. Then they take you after you do all your paperwork. They tell you to get they lock up all your civilian clothes in some closet somewhere, in some big giant closet. Everybody's. And then they just want you to keep your personal items, your shaving cream, your razors, your bar of soap, all that stuff, your toothbrush, anything that isn't clothing. Then they take you and march you down to the place where you get your BDUs, right? So that's your battle dress uniform, your camouflage. They call it some other name right now. I don't remember what they call it right now, but we used to call it the battle dress uniform, the camouflage, like on my screenshot from my video here. So basically, you would get this you get the boots, you get like 4 or 5, like I think you get 4 uniforms or 5 uniforms or something like that of BDU pants and bottoms. That you get the socks, and then they ask you, do you want because I was a guy, do you want boxers or briefs? And I was like, oh, what do I want? Do I want boxers or briefs? So I said boxers. I've never wore boxers in my entire life before this. So I said boxers. I don't know why, but I thought about this because I was like, I have to roll everything and fit it in this little small space, because that's what I was thinking about. I want my underwear to look in, because this is the next part of this. They want you to have your locker all rolled up and looking nice in this little organized area that they give you. And it was so easy to roll this military boxers into the little smallest of areas and looking 100% spectacular. Like it was just perfect, right? Also, I figured out that the boxers, and we marched a lot, and later on, when after marching around all this time, I found out that boxers, my friend, boxers were great. Boxers were the best underwear that I ever had in my entire life, because the reason being is because it kept you from chafing. believe it or not, because we would sweat and sweat, and it was hot in South Carolina. It was very, very hot in the middle, even in the middle of October, and it was hot. And they had these things called fire ants, and they were, they're like in the South, they have a lot of ants in South Carolina. So it was basically a lifesaver to have these boxers. So then what happened was, after that, we got all our uniforms, and then they took us to the PX. That's like the store, the base exchange. Basically, that's where you get your toothpaste, your floss, all your, your soap, everything that you need to keep your personal hygiene stuff. And they, at the same spot, was next door to it, was where they took us to get a haircut. Nobody got any type of high and tied flat top on the sides looking. No, what the everybody got the same haircut. Everybody, the guys, when I went in there, you sit down in the chair, they give you the haircut. They have this long hose connected to the clippers, and they're like, and then it's like completely gone. You're completely bald. It was our first time in my entire life that I was completely bald. I had zero hair. It was really weird that it was so low, and I could just, it was kind of like I had nothing, like, it was, yeah, everybody had the same haircut. It was, and they would just buzz it, and it would all go into this big giant trash area, trash can, sucked right from the razor. It would be like, So, anyways, so we shaved our heads, and yeah. So after that, also, we went to let's see here. We did all that. They also fit us for our dress uniforms, the Army greens. That's what they call them. Not the pinks, but the greens. The pinks are what they're wearing now. That looks like the World War II pinks and greens. That's the uniform now, one of them. But we wore the Army greens. It was like a dark, kind of like a dark drab kind of green. I'm sure you've seen them. They were called Class A's, and this uniform was a dress uniform. And then we didn't have. So later on in military life, we got these shoes in basic training that you had to brush. You had to like shine them, and you had to shine your boots and your shoes, your dress shoes, and you had to like put the polish on them and shine them and spit on them, and use your thing, and they would get all nice and shiny, and then you'd go scuff them up, and then you'd have to go do it all over again. Right, every day. It was like an everyday occurrence, except for those fancy shoes that that you only would wear at the graduation day, right? So the easiest thing was that I didn't know how to tie a tie. This is at the end of the graduation. I had to wear the dress uniform, right? So I didn't know how to tie a tie. This is one thing that I learned. So I learned how to tie a tie. They had I don't know, remember if I think they maybe had a clip on, but I was like, no, I don't want to do a clip on. This is who uses a clip on? But so my friend, he taught me how to tie a tie. I think it's like a Windsor. It's like not the larger tie. If you tie ties, there's several ways to tie a tie. I think there's two major ways, but the one that looks not the thinnest one, and but anyways, so he taught me. Also, I never shaved before with anything, and then that's where I learned how to use a regular straight blade. Not a straight blade, but like a regular razor, like a Bic. And that was the other thing. I was always afraid that I was going to cut myself. And I'm 17, I'm saying, in the Army. So that's a few things that you learn immediately when you're tossed into the Army. So let's talk about what we did training wise, because that's basically why you're there in basic training. So one of the things that we did was, there's a lot of marching, left, right, left, right, right, and they want to get you to march because there's they want you to learn how to march for a parade. So they want you to do this left face, this right face, this marching, and then make it look all fancy. That's like called drill, right? Drill marching. But we also marched for like everywhere. We didn't get any buses to go anywhere. There was no bus. Like we didn't load up the bus and go to the firing range. We didn't load up the bus and go down to any building. We walked. We didn't walk. I don't want to say walk. Walking is like casual walking. La, 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 la. We marched, very fast, brisk march. We marched everywhere, and luckily enough, I did not get any blisters on my feet that I remember. We also did, so a normal day, you'd get up at like 5, like maybe it was 6 o'clock in the morning, and then you go to the mess hall, and then you would no. And then what you would do is you would go do physical fitness. So you wake up about 5:30 in the morning. They wake you up. It's really dark, really early in the morning. You do physical fitness. It lasts for about a half an hour to 45 minutes tops. You run for about a mile or two, and then you do some calisthenics, jumping jacks, And then what you do after that is then you go back, take your shower, get all your dressed again, and then they march you over to the good old chow hall. This is in the morning time. So you go to the chow hall. Now, some people of your company may have KP, kitchen patrol, or what I call it is washing dishes and cleaning up stuff. All right. But I learned early on, if somebody drops something in the chow hall, if something is dropped, like a plate or a glass, and it breaks, the entire kitchen will yell, "Airborne!" and "Airborne!" because it drops, and then because airborne, you get it, right? Because it's flying and then it's dropping and then it's airborne. Anyways, so basically, you'd eat, and they'd only allow you like a very fast period of time to eat. It was like eat and go. Breakfast was not much anyways. It was like an egg with some cereal, and I had to lose some poundage also, because I was kind of like, I made the weight to get into basic training, and then they wanted me to get even thinner, right? I lost like about 30, 25 pounds in 2 months. I'm not joking you. I mean, I lost a ton of pounds, right? Coming out of basic training. So I went from I entered and I was weighing like 180 something, 89 pounds. And when I left basic training, I weighed, I think it was like 155 pounds. It was like a lot. They said, anybody here at the end, they were like, anybody here lost more than 25 pounds? I'm like, me, drill sergeant, it was really crazy. I mean, I was pushed a lot. So, but so if you're overweight, they really get on you at lunch, at mealtime. They really make sure that you're not eating a bunch of garbage, you're eating less portions and whatnot. Plus, in physical fitness, they're just getting to you all. You know what I'm saying? They're just giving you the gung. You're like being pushed to your total extent. So another thing that happened while we were there, after you eat your breakfast, then you go to your training. So you go to this training building, and we had like first aid training. We had map training where you learn how to get to places on a map, on an actual map. They would have like like a geographical map, where it would have like drawing of the ridges and the numbers of the altitude and all this other stuff, and you'd have to be able to like find out where you're going. Okay. Then on top of that, then they would teach you about taking apart your weapon, putting your weapon back together. There was training with the nuclear biological. That's another thing. So you had a gas mask, and they teach you how to use it, right? But one of the things the military does to you to make sure that you know that your military protective gear, your protective gas mask, and its associated gear would work, is that you would put it all on. MOP gear, military oriented posture protection, or protection posture, MOPP is what we call it. You would wear this gear and you'd go into this building where they would have CS gas, and they would make you take off your mask, do a bunch of push-ups or calisthenics or whatever, and then they would make you put on your mask in the room and then try to seal it and get rid of all the gas in your mask, and then know that you could, and then you would resume talking and everything there was in the room full of the gas. Yeah, good things to do. When you get out of the place, you're like, and then you get all the fresh air, but then that's like making your eyes like water. Yeah, it really sucked. So yeah, that was fun times. It was called the gas chamber in basic training. Also, they make you go out to the range and you qualify, and you get to learn how to shoot your weapon, and you qualify. That was a lot of fun too. One of the things that I always will remember that I did in basic training is that we got to be able to throw a hand grenade, a live hand grenade. I have to tell you, a hand grenade, it is not the lightest thing in the planet. I don't know how much one weighs, to be honest. I don't know. But they give you a hand grenade. It's you and the drill sergeant, and you're wearing a Kevlar vest and got your Kevlar helmet on, and you go stand behind this cement barrier, right? And then you pull the pin, and then you hope to God that you just don't drop it because it's a real hand grenade. Well, then you're supposed to, you throw it. You know what I'm saying? And you're like hoping, oh man, did I throw it far enough? That's the thing. You can't look because some debris is gonna be flying over, right? You don't want to look at and see where your hand grenade went. That's like not great. So that was kind of fun and exciting stuff because we got to throw some hand grenades in basic training. This is back in 1989, right? So another thing that we used to do, we were able to do, they made you went to this field exercise, right? And in basic training, you had a partner, like a buddy, and you had to go overnight and spend overnight at a field exercise where they simulated a battle, and you had to dig a trench hole. A trench hole. The trench hole. I'm 5'6". This thing was a little bit almost taller than I was. Maybe it was. I'm not sure exactly how far it was down, but it was pretty far, and it was big enough for me and my partner, and we had to dig it on our own in the middle of South Carolina. It was not fun times. These foxholes. Then in the middle of the night, while we're watching, because they make you stay awake, and they play like little war games with you. So one of the things that happened to me while we were in our foxhole was that our sergeant came by and threw a smoke grenade at us. It wasn't just any smoke grenade; it was a CS smoke grenade. I was like, "Oh man!" I put all the gear on. Well, then I threw it back at wherever it went. I got it out of our fox because it landed right in our foxhole. I had to get it and grab it and then throw it away somewhere else and then don the gear because smoke was just everywhere, right? I said that really sucks. So another thing that happened while we were there, we had a thing called it was another battle simulation that they made you go through. It was called Omaha Beach. Omaha Beach. It is if you look on YouTube, you could probably find a old video from on there somewhere about it. Fort Jackson. It's a beach. It's a simulated beach front that you have to basically your company basically goes and assaults, and they have barbecue wire, and you have to crawl everywhere on your back, and they have these. They're set up. They have these M60 machine guns. I'm not joking here. They have M60 machine guns that are set up at a position, and then they your drill sergeants fire them, and the bullets are going over, and you can see the tracer rounds. The tracer round is a round that basically fires, and when it fires, it's red, and you can see it go through the sky, right? So they can see where they're firing at. and they would fire these rounds, and then they would have these explosions nearby you that were pre-set up and everything else like that. It was the most realistic battle situation that I had ever been in my entire life. It was amazing stuff. It actually scared the weebie jeebies out of me. So basic training basically was to get you ready to be ready to roll in the war. One of the other things that we did, we had an obstacle course that we had to do. And we at the one part of the obstacle course, we actually had bayonets on our rifles. Now, I don't think I've ever had a bayonet. Well, after basic training, I never had one M16 that ever had a bayonet come with it. I never used a bayonet. I never seen a bayonet after that. Well, we had to do this obstacle course and run and use the bayonet and into some dummy, right? Some plastic, it was a rubber like dummy that we had a bayonet and, you know, run, and they'd yell, they'd be soldier, what you got? What do you know, what color is the grass? The grass is red, sir, red, the red blood for red. So you'd yell that, and you're running around the obstacle course, and you're dodging things and going going over these obstacles, you know, climbing them and stuff like that. And then you got your bayonet, you got to whip out, you know, your pocket, or it's on your hip somehow in a pouch. You got to put that and assemble that on your rifle. Then you got to go run towards this dummy and get it, and basically jab it. And that was fun. That was great stuff. The only time ever that you'll ever have to do it. So let's see here. That's basically what basic training was really about. It was about getting ready to roll and getting ready to be in the thing into a war. And there was a lot, and then I graduated from basic training in I think it was November-ish. I don't remember if I was there for Thanksgiving or not. I forget. But it was in Fort Jackson, South Carolina. And they give you a videotape. Another thing that you got was a videotape, and also you got a videotape, and I got a book that they give you a book. You could it's up on my shelf that I have where they took pictures of the place and stuff like that. So one day when I get some time to be able to convert my basic training tape, that's what I'll do. I'll have my basic training tape, and I'll be able to put it if I have it somewhere, and put it on a regular CD. That will be pretty awesome. I'll upload it to YouTube. So anyways, basic training in a nutshell. A lot of good people that I still remember to this day who was there with me. It was a rude awakening to become an adult fast, right? I lost a lot of weight. I did a lot of things that I was scared, scared me, that I was scared to do, that I kind of got over. Like one of the things that I had to do that I really did not want to do, but I did, was we had to rappel off a 70-foot tower. Whew. I didn't just have to rappel off of it. Maybe it was it 70 or 50 foot or something like that. It was like 70 feet, I think. Freedom is called Freedom Tower in Fort Jackson, South Carolina. So basically, we had to go and go to the rappel tower. We had to rappel off of it, but you had to climb up the whole tower. And I'm like this. I'm like, oh man, you know what I'm saying? I'm grabbing onto this big giant log, by log, and I finally get up there, and I'm like, man, I made it, right? Straight to heights. And then I get up, and they're like, okay, time to rappel off the other side. I'm like, oh, really? And I'm like, yeah, So what, I had to try to get over my fear heights fast, because that's one thing I had to do. That was one of my things. So anyways, hopefully you guys like this video about my basic training time, and you guys make sure you subscribe and come back soon, because I'll be making another video talking about just from my going from basic training to my advanced individual training, which is my MOS, your military occupational specialty, and I'll be talking about my time at AIT at another base in the next video. So thanks for watching, and remember to click that subscribe button, and and give this video a thumbs up. So thanks a lot, and you guys have a great one. For now, over and out.